What's up, everybody? It's GalMedX, and we've got our very first spoilers for the next Magic set, Core Set 2020, from Gizmodo.com. The set has a heavy focus on Chandra Nalaar, as we've seen from the box art previously, so the first spoilers that we are getting are 3 different Chandra cards, and we have confirmation in a quote from a Wizards employee that there will be 4 different Chandra Planeswalker cards tied to the core set, so maybe one will be a buy box promo, maybe a Planeswalker deck, something like that, but the ones that we have spoiled so far are Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, 2 red and 1 more for a 4 loyalty legendary Planeswalker Chandra at rare, 0 to put a loyalty counter on each red Planeswalker you control, another 0 ability to create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, and -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So the first thing I'm going to point out here is the precedent that this sets is a little bit worrying. Just because we have a little bit of Planeswalker fatigue from War of the Spark. We just got 36 Planeswalkers in one set. I was kind of excited at the prospect of, like, just in order to balance things out, to make sure that Standard doesn't just have a million Planeswalkers at all times, maybe getting some sets with less Planeswalkers than normal, or just no Planeswalkers, just because sometimes it's nice to, like, really go back to basics. There are definitely sets from before Planeswalkers were out that were a lot of fun, just not having to worry about that at all. But it looks like that's not what they want to do, at least yet, and so much so that we even have an uncommon Chandra in this set coming up. But I certainly hope that this is the exception and not the rule to this set, as Chandra is such a big Planeswalker, such a big focus of the set. I'm hoping she gets all these Planeswalker cards, and maybe just like 1 Planeswalker in every other color. I certainly would not be too excited if there are legitimately 20 Planeswalkers in the set right after the set that had 36. If there were 4 in every color, just like there's 4 in red, that would be a little insane to me. I think I would have a lot of Planeswalker fatigue, so I'm hoping Chandra's the exception. We will certainly find out in the spoilers weeks to come. But let's talk about the card itself. I think this card is very impressive. It could be quite good in these mono red decks that are just destroying in Standard right now. So first of all, you have that -2 is probably the most exciting thing about this card. It essentially gives you a lot of card advantage just being able to recast basically any instant or sorcery card in your deck in those mono red aggressive decks. Shock, Lightning Strike, Wizard's Lightning, Skewer the Critics, Light Up the Stage, basically anything you get to give flashback with this card, which is quite impressive. And if you don't happen to have any in your graveyard at the time, you can just make some elementals and bash your opponent's face. So it's an exciting card I definitely would like to try out in those red decks. I think it could be quite an impressive card for Standard. Next up is the uncommon Chandra. That's probably the most notable thing about it, is that we have uncommon Planeswalkers once again, right after War of the Spark. She is Chandra, Novice Pyromancer, 3 in a red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. Starts at 5 loyalty, +1 to give elementals you control +2/+0 till end of turn, -1 to add 2 red, and -2 to have her deal 2 to any target. So certainly not intensely impressive. I think the power level of this card would be pretty much on par with the Jaya from War of the Spark, since she is 1 mana less, and she's got that same -2, same loyalty. She's going to be about that power level because her +1 and -1 aren't insanely impressive, so that's pretty much an equal trade-off with the static ability of Jaya, which was actually a decently impressive thing. So this is the kind of thing, it's really just going to be in really casual decks and limited decks. But that's what you want out of these uncommon Planeswalkers, especially if we're getting more of them after War of the Spark. I would like it if we don't get a gigantic amount of more Standard playable Planeswalkers. I think Standard has plenty of Planeswalkers right now. We see in Esper Control, Command the Dreadhorde, even Mono Red now is playing some Planeswalkers. There's just, I think there's enough Planeswalkers for now. We can cool it a bit. We can have the uncommon Planeswalker be limited exclusive, and I'm fine with that. So the final Chandra that we have spoiled today, they've spoiled 3 out of the 4. is Chandra Awakened Inferno. 2 red and 4 more for a 6 loyalty Chandra Planeswalker. She cannot be countered, and she has a +2. Each opponent gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. -3, she deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature, and -X to deal X to a creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So it is kind of cool to see that we get a really good Chandra that's clearly designed for these early game fast mono red decks, and then we also get this Mythic Chandra, which seems to kind of be designed for a different style of deck. Definitely a lot more for these big red decks, just because it's such a high mana cost. It's just like a high mana cost, very high impact card. This can just come out and wipe your opponent's board of their small creatures with the -3, or just do a bunch of damage. You could just pay 6 mana for an uncounterable 6 damage. You could just cast it as an Inescapable Blaze if you need to, but preferably you can cast her out, start using that +2, and just start destroying your opponent's life total over the course of a longer game. Could definitely work well in some kind of controlling shell that has red in it, as all 3 of these abilities work quite well in control. That +2 gives you the inevitability of slowly draining your opponent's life out of this game, especially because it stacks very well as having the -3 being a pseudo-wrath and the -X being able to deal with any kind of threats and exile them from the grave. So definitely another exciting card, and the coolest thing about it is just, as I said before, how different it is from Chandra Acolyte of Flame. So those are the 3 spoilers we have so far for core set M20. What did you guys think? I'm pretty excited for the set. This is not what I expected for the first spoilers of the set, though, but I'll take it. I'm surprised they kind of just blew their load immediately. They were like, Chandra is the face of the set. Here are the Chandras, and let's go. So thank you everybody for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you again very soon with some more Magic-related content.